to the Pasadena effort. I think we might, I don't know if we were the largest, but one of the largest to the St. Paul effort, right? And, relative to the other side, those are small amounts of money. But I mean, we don't want to be the only ones doing it, obviously. So I think, but if we can, plant some seeds that enable us to go out and or even do matching funds or that type of thing. But we really have a window of time in the next year with the presidential election coming up and with the crisis at a fever pitch. There's no time to waste.
Yeah. Thank you. And then Joel.
Yeah, we recently went to Congress this week to lobby and advocate for various bills. And one thing that was apparent is not one of those members of Congress said that they didn't care about ending homelessness or they didn't care about tenants' rights. But unless we get out of our silos and we all work together as one family, you can't make any changes. But I think silos are a serious problem. But we got to get out of our silos and be one band and play the music together, not independently.
Yes.
That's right. Thank you very much. Moving on to our next question. We've talked a lot about increasing stock and how do we get folks to focus on housing. How do we get policymakers to focus once we get to that place where they aren't housed, where they are unhoused, and how do we identify and then fund policy solutions to bring people in either off the streets or out of the encampments or wherever they might find themselves in the unhoused situation?
Yeah, I think it's the same. I don't think it changes much. Budgets, platform priorities are all based off the priorities of the folks that represent us. I think what I'm hearing, we have to build that power. And we build the power to push folks to make what we want a priority, then those solutions will come. But I think it doesn't start until we start to build that power. And then like Joel's saying, others, we have to build a collective power because we can't lean on someone else's. You can't say, okay, you got a relationship with the speaker. That ain't building power. That's not building people up. As we build people up, then they become engaged, and we have to keep them engaged. Because whatever we win, we can lose the next go around. So we have to look at a protracted campaign or struggle where we're building power and maintaining it. I think once we do that, then we can come up with the solutions to get folks in places and provide the services we need, those type of things. And it won't be as difficult. But until we do that foundational piece, I don't think we can come up with it, but it's like we got a lot of ideas about how to do stuff, but not the political power to make it happen. And I think the political power comes from as we develop the community power.
But I think the focus needs to be on permanent housing. Mm-hmm. Permanent house. Musical chairs is not a solution, and it's not a home. A shelter is not a home. Mm-hmm. Okay. Interim place. We have a spectacle in LA of moving people from place to place for a month or two, whatever. That just compounds the instability.
I just wanted to quickly. I don't know if Leanne's still here, but Luann gave a perfect case example earlier in the earlier panel about how her community went to them, asked them what was needed, sent them blueprints, asked them to look over things, asked them their input, helped them be part of creating these houses, included even having the porch, which part of my family is Louisiana, so I know about the porches, So I'm just saying, we have programs, we have agencies and communities and groups that are doing the work, that are the case examples of, we've heard them all day to day, right? We've heard these amazing programs and groups that are coalition together that are doing amazing work, that have the case examples of what we need to do. We need to take those case examples, go sit in these offices and show them these case examples and have them start taking them apart and applying them and see how we can move it on a federal level. I think that's part of that also what we need to do. It's not just yes, it works on the state, but it can work on a federal level, so on a national level. We don't have to just say it's only local. They can work. So we have to start using the case examples and successes that we clearly see from our communities that are doing it, and use those to help us drive what we're trying to do at a national level.
And I would also say we have to make sure that the solutions come from the people themselves.
Yeah.
We can't just say this is what we need to do for all the homeless people in America, which I think is about close to 5 million people. But if we get those people that are in the situation first to believe in themselves, and by giving them the opportunity to lead or design their own solutions, we empower them and we make them stronger as individuals. But we first have to change this idea, because it's not an idea on the other side. Many people on our side have this idea that homelessness is a moral issue, that people have caused their own homelessness. We have to change that narrative. It is a multiple layer of structural issues that cause people to become homeless. When people have worked all their lives, they become seniors, and then they can't afford a place to live. That's a failure of our system, not a failure of that individual. But we have to change that narrative, and we have to believe that narrative ourselves. Just think about Washington, D.C., for instance. 80% of the people experiencing homelessness are African Americans. There's a reason behind that. It's structural. But that 80% of the people, just think if we registered them to vote. They could change elections all over this country. So we have to not only work with people, we have to let them lead. Nothing for us without us is really what we ought to be doing. And we can't decide what the solution is. We have to work with them and allow them to have the opportunity to decide what the solution is, because it's not the same. So we just started the Power Tour, and I have my jacket on because we didn't get extra 2X shirts. So this is a 1X, does not fit me. But we're doing a tour across the country, and what we're doing is we're not going into that community and saying, this is what you need, Sacramento. This is what you need, Los Angeles. We're saying, Los Angeles, Sacramento, Seattle, what can we do to help you make change?